Take a minute and think about what you've said to yourself today. Were you kind? Did you give yourself any praise? Were you encouraging? Or were you very critical of yourself, making you feel like you're not enough? The way you talk to yourself in your mind is way more important than you might realize. Self-talk, especially negative self-talk, has major consequences on your self-esteem, as well as on your success and relationships, both romantic as well as non-romantic. Negative self-talk also prevents you from being truly happy. So what can you do? How can you stop being so critical of yourself? How do you stop the constant negative self-talk? And how do you develop positive self-talk? This is exactly what you'll learn in this video. Hi, I'm Katja. I'm a psychologist and psychotherapist from Slovenia, and I'm here to help you skyrocket your self-esteem. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. First, what is self-talk? Self-talk is your inner dialogue. It can be positive or negative. It can also be realistic or not at all. Your self-talk is largely influenced by your self-esteem and vice versa. One of the fastest ways to improve your low self-esteem is to change the way you talk to yourself in your mind and to develop positive self-talk, or at least a realistic one. And you learn to do just that in this video. But before we go on, let's make something clear. Not all negative self-talk is bad for you. Having a healthy self-esteem doesn't mean you think only positive things about yourself. It doesn't mean you think you're the best at everything. If that were the case, you wouldn't have a healthy self-esteem. You would just be arrogant and narcissistic. Having a healthy self-esteem means you know yourself. It means that you know the good as well as the not so good sides of yourself. It means that you know that you are okay and worthy, even though you might be having a bad day or a bad week or even years. It means that you know that you're not defined by the bad moments. So not all negative self-talk is bad. There is a difference between healthy negative self-talk and unhealthy negative self-talk. And even though negative self-talk can be healthy for you, it can still be tough to hear. I mean, nobody likes to be criticized, not by others, not by ourselves. But healthy negative self-talk can, as the name implies, be good for us. It helps us think about the things that we might have done wrong. It helps us think about others. It keeps us honest. It keeps us acting according to our values. It keeps us a better person. So even though it's tough to hear, we all need criticism from time to time, from others as well as from ourselves. Healthy negative self-talk is necessary because it makes us better. Unhealthy negative self-talk, on the other hand, is not good for us. It does not make us better because it makes us think we are incapable of change. It makes us think that we are not okay, that we are not a good person, and it makes us think that we are unworthy, that we are never enough. Unhealthy negative self-talk crushes our self-esteem. So how can you tell the difference between healthy and unhealthy negative self-talk? The first thing is that healthy self-criticism only refers to the behavior. For example, the tone I used when I was speaking to my mom just now on the phone wasn't very kind. It was a bit rude. So I'm referring to only my behavior, only my tone. Unhealthy self-criticizing, on the other hand, refers to you as a whole. For example, I'm a terrible daughter, I'm an awful person. So in this case, you're not just criticizing your behavior, but you're criticizing yourself as a whole, as a person. The second thing is that healthy self-criticizing looks at a situation as here and now. For example, let's say that you ask a girl out and she said no. She said she's not interested in going out with you. Now, if you're criticizing yourself in a healthy way, you might think, okay, I guess this girl is not interested in me. On the other hand, if you're criticizing yourself in an unhealthy way, you might think, I guess girls just don't like me. No girl will ever want to go out with me. I'm completely hideous to girls. And so on. Healthy self-criticizing also means looking at the situation realistically. There are always some good things, or at least some neutral things, even in a bad situation. Unhealthy self-criticizing, on the other hand, means that you see the situation as purely good or bad, black or white. And you tend to magnify the bad aspects of the situation while overlooking the good aspects. Let's look at a practical example. Let's say that you went to a party a few days ago and you had a great time. You met a few nice people and you talked a lot, laughed a lot, and it was a great party. But at one point, you were talking to this person that you just met and you forgot his name and you accidentally called him by the wrong name. And of course, you apologized, he laughed, he said it was no big deal, and you continue talking. And even though it has now been several days after the party, you still feel bad about this. Every time you think about the party, you feel bad. And you're worried that you've made a fool out of yourself. You're worried that everybody thinks you're a moron. And you completely forget about the fact that otherwise you had a great time. Everybody seemed to get along, nobody seemed offended by your mistake. They even laughed at a few of your jokes afterwards, and everybody had a great time. So if you're engaging in unhealthy negative self-talk, chances are that you're magnifying one little bad thing while ignoring all the rest, all the positive aspects of the situation. Another sign that you're being critical of yourself in an unhealthy way is so-called catastrophizing. It means expecting the worst. It means your imagination leading you into worst case scenarios, regardless of the fact whether they're realistic or not. For example, let's say your boss said she wanted to work with you, and you immediately feel the panic rising inside you. And you think things like, what is this about? Is she unhappy with my performance? Is this about the report I turned in late last month? Will she fire me? What if I can't get another job? What if I can't pay my bills? What if I can't pay my rent? What if I become homeless? What if I can't buy food? And so on. You see what happened? You got carried away by your imagination. So none of this happened. You were only thinking about the worst case scenarios. There are two things that happen when we catastrophize. The first thing that happens is that for a moment we forget that this is all happening in our head, and we start believing that this absolutely will happen. We feel the fear and panic rising inside our body. We feel that we have shortness of breath. Our heartbeat quickens, we start sweating, and so on. Even though none of the things we're imagining are actually happening in this moment, the feelings and the body sensations that we feel are in fact real. So we get carried away with our imagination. The second thing that happens when we catastrophize is the fact that we forget to acknowledge other possible outcomes. We become so convinced that the worst case scenario will indeed happen that we completely overlook other possibilities. For example, maybe our boss does indeed want to talk about the report we turned in late, and she wants to come up with different strategies for that to never happen again. Or maybe she wants to talk to us about something completely different. Maybe she wants to talk about a work trip she wants us to take. Or maybe she wants to praise us for our good work. So there are many other possibilities that we usually overlook. Another way you can spot unhealthy negative self-talk is also personalizing. This means that you blame yourself for everything. And this usually results in you not being able to stand up for yourself and over-apologizing. I've made another video about over-apologizing. It's called The Biggest Confidence Fail. and I will share the link down below so that you can check it out. So these are some of the ways that you can spot unhealthy negative self-talk. So when you are self-criticizing in an unhealthy way, you tend to criticize yourself as a whole, not just the behavior, but you yourself as a person. You tend to overgeneralize. You tend to take things very personally. You think that you are to blame for everything. You often catastrophize, and you often magnify the bad things and completely overlook the positive things or the good things that you've done. So how can you develop the kind of self-talk that helps you boost your self-esteem? Become mindful of the way you talk to yourself and identify what kind of negative self-talk are you engaging in. Is it healthy or unhealthy negative self-talk? A great way to develop positive self-talk is to think about the way you talk to a person you think the world of. Maybe this is a friend of yours or a close family member or somebody that you really admire or love. So how do you talk to this person? Are you kind to them? Are you encouraging? Do you praise this person? How do you talk to this person when they're feeling down, when they're feeling sad, or when they think they might not be good enough, or when they failed at something? Are you trying to make them feel better? Are you pointing out all the good things that they've already done? Are you telling them how amazing they are, what they mean to you? So how do you talk to the person you think the world of? So one of the best ways to develop positive self-talk is to start talking to yourself in the same way. So start talking to yourself like you would talk to a person that you think the world of. Start encouraging yourself, start being kind, start praising yourself, and start celebrating you. Start celebrating who you really are. So praise yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle. Be patient. Be loving. And take many mini breaks during the day and think about the things that you did well today. Even if it's something small, like making a cup of coffee. Think about the things that you did well, or maybe even did great, and praise yourself for them. So practice self-talk, practice positive self-talk. In time, it will become second nature, and so will your self-esteem. Did you like this video? If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. You're also welcome to join my free Facebook group called Skyrocket Your Self-Esteem, where you will learn how to really start loving yourself and how to develop amazing communication skills. Hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching.